So the cool thing about Temple Square is that you get 2 mission calls. You don't actually get like the piece of paper saying your second mission call, but the first presidency, you know, or the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, they still treat it like a mission call, and they'll pray about it and find out where you're supposed to go. It's called an outbound mission, and it's usually near the end of your mission. You'll always go back and finish your mission on Temple Square, but like I went out after I'd been on Temple Square for a year, and then I went for 2 transfers. So I had 12 weeks in California. It was the California Arcadia mission, and I left at like the perfect time because I had Christmas on Temple Square, and then it was like January 4th or something, I went to California, and I was like, this is the best. And so that was a unique experience. I really didn't know what to expect. I mean, I knew what missionary work was. I'd been teaching people over the phone and on Temple Square and everything like that. Like I knew how to teach the lessons, but I didn't really know what it was like to go up to someone's door and knock on it and say, we're missionaries. You know, like I didn't really know what to expect. And so I really like that they do outbound missions to kind of give you both experiences to feel what it's like to have a different situation where you're sitting in a member's house for dinner and sharing a spiritual message with them. Just different things that we don't experience on Temple Square. And so I was in Pasadena and I was in La Cañada, so I got transferred once during my outbound mission. And both areas, I think it was really neat being able to be there and be like a new missionary, but not a new missionary. Like I was just so excited again to like have a new experience that, you know, with my companion, she was like, I feel like I should be training you, but you don't really need to be trained. Like, because there were some things I was like, I don't know how we do weekly planning out here, because weekly planning on Temple Square was, you know, about an hour and a half. Like you had to do it quick. And there was a lot of things like you wouldn't talk about the ward and you wouldn't talk about different things like that. And so we would do weekly planning and it would take, you know, a couple hours. I was like, wow, this is taking forever. Like, what are we supposed to do here? And so it was neat getting to know that kind of a different experience. Tracting wasn't something that they really did in the mission. The mission president in Arcadia didn't really encourage too much tracting. He wanted, you know, member referrals and things like that. He didn't think it was quite as effective. We still did it every once in a while because I was just like, you know, if we didn't have a member referral and we didn't have any less active to visit or something, we would just be like, okay, well, we need to do something, so obviously we're going to tract. And that was fun for me. I always liked it. I don't know. We didn't really have too much success tracting, but it was a neat experience to be able to knock on someone's door and to be a representative of Jesus Christ there, talking to them. We got a few referrals while we were there, and I had been praying my whole mission that when I got to go outbound, I'd actually be able to see someone get baptized. Because on Temple Square, they call you and you get super excited with them on the phone. You say, you know, this is amazing that you're able to get baptized, and they send you pictures and you look at it. But I really wanted to be there. And so it was the second day I was in Pasadena, so my first area of my outbound. We met, it was an online referral, so someone who wanted to learn about the gospel and had like sent in a request for missionaries. And so we went there and we couldn't go in because he was a guy and there wasn't any other girls there. And so on the doorstep, we committed him to be baptized if he felt like this was true. You know, as you learn about these things, will you commit to be baptized kind of question. And he said yes, and we scheduled the time to come and meet with him. I want to say it was like that following weekend or something. We found members to come with us. And just being able to sit there in his little studio apartment and to be able to teach him the gospel and really see the look on his face as we explained to things that I'd been explaining over the phone for, you know, a whole year, and to actually, more than just hear someone's voice change, to actually see like their countenance change and them so excited to change different parts of their life, and to kind of have that process that he went through, and to kind of be able to go through that with him as we were teaching other people. I mean, there's obviously other people that we taught. I just talked about him because it was the second day I got into the mission field there, and I want to say it was a week before I got transferred to a different area that he got baptized. And so I kind of think of that as my little miracle, you know. Heavenly Father was, you know, he didn't have to give me that experience. I'm sure anyone could have taught him because he was so ready to learn about the gospel. I felt like he taught us. But it was really neat to be able to be there and just to see him to go through that progression stage to get baptized. And then I went to La Cañada and spent some time there. And that was, again, a whole nother thing, a whole new companion. We were actually opening an area. So not only was I like, what are we supposed to, I'd only been in California, I guess, for it was different transfer days, so I got there kind of in the middle of transfer. Anyways, I'd been there for 7 weeks, and so I was like, okay, I'm supposed to open an area, and I've only had like 7 weeks experience in this, but you know, really learning to trust in the Lord and to have a whole nother set of experiences. And the difference is what it feels like to work with a bishop and with a ward mission leader, and how to have those experiences. And then when you go back to Temple Square, you learn from those experiences and you apply them to the mission on Temple Square. And I felt like I was a different missionary when I came back from that, and just to be able to understand a little bit more where the members are coming from. I think my first kind of while in Temple Square, I was like, why don't more people just invite their friends to, to learn about the gospel? We're here, we can call people all day. And I think maybe just having a little bit more compassion after my Outbound mission, and just kind of understanding maybe more people's life circumstances and where they came from. And there's just, that's only one thing that I learned. There were so many things that the Outbound mission taught me, but I really liked that I was able to have the experience of having 2 different mission presidents and different companions that came from different places. One of my companions Outbound was from American Samoa, and so just having, different experiences that I wouldn't have on Temple Square, but I wouldn't trade either for anything. Like I would never want to just go to Arcadia, and I never want to just go to Temple Square. Like I'm so glad that I got to go to both, have that experience.